in a land before time. So that's how it goes, yeah. So, well, I'll let you start the debate about 40k, because 40k is a load of shit. Like,
we're not doing a debate. We're gonna learn, damn it.
Well, there's not much to learn about. When the Emperor took over, the whole of humanity went on this giant crusade, colonizing places and fucking everything that wasn't human up, killing everything. Then Horus got emotionally distraught and became a chaos guy, and thousands of fucking legions fell before chaos, and then there was a big civil war. The Emperor got his shit knocked up, but he killed Horus in the end. After that, the Emperor is equivalently just a corpse on a throne that is almost useless to everyone, apart from he has magical psychic abilities, but he can't talk, he can't do anything, so he's pretty much useless. And then the Inquisition goes around shooting any human who associates with Xenos, and that's pretty much it. Literally what humanity did for the whole fucking 40k series. That's all humanity did, and they just fight against everything. Then the Orcs are all a bunch of retarded people that go around just killing stuff and flying ships that literally wouldn't even be able to sort. Like, literally, the equivalent of something like a crazy junk dealer sells to you when they're on crack cocaine and they're trying to like sell you like a watch that doesn't work. And that's like the equivalent of Orc stuff. It just nothing works.
Should not work.
It's like none of it works, but it's like they somehow magically get it to fly. And then there's the Eldari, which are, let's just be quite honest, they're basically just elves that live in space. Like, you know, they're given like...
You even have two flavors, right?
Yeah, you have Dark...
World, and then you have the Dark Eldar.
Yeah, the Dark Eldar, which are basically just a bunch of punsy, horny elves that go around fucking everything to death, because they're all Slanesh followers.
And torturing.
Wait, what?
Yeah, because they're all Slanesh followers, which Slanesh was like the fourth Chaos God that was ever made, and she was created by the Eldar. That's how the Dark Eldar was.
Technically speaking, they're doing those acts to stave off Slanesh. Because they don't want to get eaten by it.
Yeah, well, Slanesh followers are basically just a bunch of faggots, really. Let's just be absolutely honest about that. They are basically just a bunch of horny elves that go around raping and pillaging people. Because that's like what Slanesh is. She's the goddess of excess. So they just do everything in excess.
Wait, what?
That's true.
Yeah, Slanesh followers like rape their enemies. And they like do loads of sexual stuff because they're weird. And then like you compare them to Khorne followers that go around doing blood fucking altars and ripping people's arms off and stuff and like killing people in really gruesome ways. They're completely different. And like most of the other Chaos Gods are all based around a concept or based around a specific action done by mortals. So like Nurgle's like the god of like disease and sickness, and Tzeentch is basically just the god of wisdom and magic and deception, and then Khorne's just the blood god. And change, and Khorne's the blood god, and is basically the god of hatred and war and torment and misery and stuff like that.
Some would even say the god of the mindset of the survival of the fittest.
True, but there's so much controversy around Khorne. It's like some people who believe in Khorne, talk about Khorne, not believing, because no one actually believes in Khorne in real life, but like people who debate Khorne and like the philosophy of the Khorne followers in 40k talk about Khorne as if he's like some honourable god, when all of his followers are the most unhonourable people that you'll probably ever hear about. In the lore, they go around ripping people's arms off and fucking making blood altars to him and like fucking cleaning skulls and stuff and creating giant piles of skulls on the battlefield. They're fucking mental. They've got they've got space marine legions that are called berserkers that literally just run into battle, and they're all Khorne followers, and they just literally just try and kill as many people as they can. They're not honourable at all, but people sometimes argue that they are.
But you never see a Khornate berserker backstab somebody. They'll just stab you in the front. They never stab you in the back.
But it's hard to backstab when every person that you look at you want to kill. So it's hard to be behind them when you start seeing them. It's like, you know,
you never get backstabbed. At least they've got that going for them as far as honor is concerned.
I mean, it's also the fact that like I mean, Khorne it is said like in like the lore of 40k that like Khorne he does like value martial ability. So like if you're like really good at fighting and you like beat many enemies in single combat, there's a chance, however small, that if you actually align yourself with Khorne, that he may resurrect you. But he resurrects hardly anyone. I think in the history of 40k lore, he's only resurrected like a few people. But Nurgle resurrects almost every single person that follows him. It's almost like if you want to live forever, become a Nurgle follower, because Nurgle guys get fucking sent. I mean, you'll probably come back with like snot and shit covered all over you, but you'll come back, I suppose. So.
Yeah, you'll come back. You'll be ugly as hell, but you'll come back.
Yeah, you'll look like you've been hit by a car, but you'll come back. I mean,
and you'll be jolly about it as well.
Yeah, I mean, for Khorne as well, there's like blood for the blood god, skull for the skull throne, and that's like a saying that specifically is towards Khorne. And like a lot of the other gods, I don't think have that, but that's like really popular saying in 40k with the Chaos gods. Like everyone knows that that's directed at Khorne.
Yeah, nobody wants to talk about Slaanesh. What they're doing. It's because
it is debatable though, really, whether or not she's technically speaking a chaos god or she's just been branded as one because the Dark Elves are kind of evil. Because she's kind of not really a full-on chaos god because she wasn't manifested on her own. She didn't grow in power on her own. She was created by the Eldar.
Fuck that one up.
Yeah, the Eldar fully made her. Like, unlike Khorne and Slaanesh, Khorne, Tanich, and Nurgle, they actually were manifested on their own through other things. Like, pretty much any conflict that's ever happened or any individual killing another individual was the manifestation of Khorne. And Nurgle followed with disease and stuff. And then
if we follow the timeline of 40k, Nurgle was the first, and he would be right around 1,000 years after Christ. That's when he shows up, or that's when there is an entity formed. Khorne would be next. He would be a little later, 2 or 3 centuries later. So we're talking 12 to 1300. And Tzeentch would be right around the revolutions. So the American/French Revolution. That's when he shows up. He would have fuck all influence, but they show up. And then it takes about another, 18,000 to 23,000 years until Slaanesh shows up.
Yeah, Slaanesh is like the youngest of the Chaos gods, but there are many lesser gods than just them 4, but they are the main 4 gods.
Yeah, they fuck shit up.
Like, technically speaking, every single Daemon Prince is effectively a minor Chaos god. They all can have followers and they all can manifest their own demons. It's just that they're really, really weak.
So humans summoned these gods, then?
No. A large amount of them manifest on their own.
Our selective, or our consciousness and subconsciousness generates thoughts in the warp, and those thoughts clump them up together, and you get a manifestation or whatever. You could technically create a god of ice cream in the warp. Technically. I mean, you would have to have very specific rules for it, but you could pull it off. The Eldar were quite good at it before they fucked everything up by fucking a Chaos God into existence, but yeah, well.
What the hell?
It's also that there's also a really weird thing though, because like Chaos is like in the 40k lore anyway, and even Warhammer lore just in general. Like,
true.
Chaos is always the same. It's not changed since the Fantasy, which was the first Warhammer series that was around, and Chaos has remained the exact same. The only difference is that in the 40k series, it's much more like they're not super overpowered, but in Chaos, in the Warhammer Fantasy version, Chaos at one point won and killed every single race that pretty much existed in the world.
Damn.
Yeah.
Until the Age of Sigmar
We're not
came.
talking about the. We're not gonna talk about the end times.
But
It's
it-
just not gonna happen.
but in the 40k version, pretty much Chaos is really weak until the Horus Heresy. That's like the major thing that happens in 40k that like
Yup.
made Chaos super strong. Because before then, it was just like a couple of war bands of some mercenary people and like a couple of daemons and some daemons
Yeah.
showing up and doing a bit of damage. But then when the actual Horus Heresy happened, shit went
They
downhill.
got 9 Space Marine legions, and that shifted the balance of power a little.
Yeah, and then there's a big civil war between the Imperium and the Chaos legions that basically defected to.
And and Yari already, because we talked about it last time, Yari knows about, as far as the traitor legions is concerned. Yari, call them up if you remember them.
I know the Ultramarines.
No, those are loyalists.
Oh,
Or
Yeah,
well,
the Dreadnoughts.
no, those aren't the legion.
yeah,
So
right.
you forgot most of it.
Fuck. I'm gonna.
Does
fill
the
I'm gonna
name
fill the
World
test.
Eater say anything?
Oh yeah. That I know that.
And word bearers is also a thing.
I'm gonna fill the test, aren't I?
Yeah, you already failed them if you can't remember those two.
Shit.
Speaking of Ultramarines and their Primarch Roboute Gulliman, who wrote a goddamn book, the videos of today are focused in as far as the timeline is concerned, in the 41st millennium instead of the 31st millennium that we were last time. And well, Papa Smurf. Well,
What?
Papa Smurf
The
would.
Smurfs are in this universe?
The Ultramarines are the Smurfs.
Really?
They are the Ultra Smurfs.
Who's Gargamel?
They are blue with a toilet
Who's
as an
Gargamel then?
insignia.
Oh, this chaos thing. That's
Gargamel.
Gargamel then.
Don't necessarily know. But he wrote a book. The legions are split up into chapters of 1,000 men strong. The argumentation was that the Space Marine legions were too strong a tool to be left in the hands of a single individual, and considering 9 individuals betrayed the Emperor and caused the entire Horus Heresy.
Damn.
Although that would be a grand oversimplification of what actually happened, but
Although mainly Horus was kind of responsible, but yeah, no, there were many other Primarchs that fell.
Every time we talk about Horus, I think of the Egyptian god.
Well, I would personally blame Lorgar, but
I mean, fundamentally, the reason why it's referred to as the Horus Heresy is mainly because Horus was the one who ended up pretty much almost killing the Emperor. I mean, he was so close to killing the Emperor, and if he had killed the Emperor, the Imperium of Man would have probably collapsed.
And some would even argue Chaos would have lost at that point.
I mean, yeah.
Because what would come after that is a state that entirely gets dissolved, and there wouldn't be enough to fuel the Chaos Gods at that point. The hell?
Well, I mean, it's also the fact that people probably don't realize that, like, Chaos doesn't, like, if you don't know a lot, I mean, loads of people know about Chaos and 40k and stuff, but it's like, Chaos, the incursions, it's not like a full-on war with Chaos, it's like incursions, so they don't, like, consistently all the time attack. It's like, they have periods of stagnation where they don't do anything, and they go into the void. It's like, after the war with Chaos during the Horus Heresy, all of the legions of Chaos went back into the void. So Like,
Yeah, they fucked off to the galactic sphincter that is the Eye of Terror, and they're hiding there.
yeah, because after Horus was defeated, Chaos was kind of like the legions and stuff that still remained loyal were kind of all in disarray.
Yeah, it wasn't like the traitors were a unified force to begin with, but
Not to mention, but then the rise of the Inquisition as a result of Chaos almost killing the Emperor not being able to physically rule anymore directly.
yeah, and then the whole ecclesiarchy also happened, which...
Ironically, the Imperium went from a period of racism to, fanatical racism. Where they already didn't particularly... There was a lot of disdain for aliens before the Emperor got injured, but when the Imperium, Inquisition came around, they just started purging entire worlds of aliens and, keeping aliens as slaves. They had loads of... It also...
Slavery isn't technically speaking what would happen to aliens.
Well, they did purge a lot of worlds, and they did have some slaves in the Imperium.
Yeah, mostly those would be considered app-humans.
Well, yeah, there was a lot of that.
A stable strain of a human mutant. So, I mean, if you're truly Xenos, then yeah, there's only one end, and that's a bolt round to the back of the head. Or something equivalent.
The fuck?
But, well, the Eldar, fucked a Chaos God into existence, so they wouldn't necessarily be the best argument for. The Orcs, well, what kind of diplomacy are you going to do with a race that entirely is entirely based on fighting? I mean, what diplomacy is there other than I have a bigger gun?
I have a bigger dick.
What else is there? Well, the Necrons weren't awake yet, although they are now, but they want to murder everything, so but it depends on the dynasty in question that might want to murder everything, or they want to collect the living shit out of everything. Praising the Infinite, if we're going to be specific about that type of thing. He basically collects historical events.
Mm-hmm.
Literally. Like the individuals involved in it, he will try and collect.
What the fuck?
If he deems that he wants to catalog them. Build a fuck off museum that nobody sees.
So he would want to collect fucking Hitler or something.
If he had the chance, yeah, he would probably have.
What the fuck?
Very good.
Treason is weird. Let's be real.
It's also another thing as well. It's even though in 40k, the main thing that you'll think of is when you think of the Imperial Man is Space Marines. But to be fair, there weren't very many of them.
No, you have 1,000 times 1,000 Battle Brothers, probably. Although some chapters deviate from it. Black Templars. And Space Wolves. Same thing. Those are the two outliners who regularly are above the limit of 1,000 Battle Brothers.
So they regularly are above the law.
Yeah, the Space Wolves are the one exception, which are tolerated as far as I'm aware. I mean, the Imperium actively knows that the Space Wolves are not looking to the guidelines as far as the numbers are concerned. Or, well, guidelines, straight rulings that the Space Wolves basically see as it's written on a piece of paper. Nice. More toilet paper.
Hold on.
Although they do follow some of the structural propositions, The Black Templars really look at the Codex Astartes as it being toilet paper. Because they have, what is it, around 6,000 active battle brothers? Although, there isn't a single Inquisitor who's actively trying to count the numbers.
So if all these legions were to fight each other, which one would win?
Depends kind of entirely on the situation in question. If we're going to talk about siege warfare, either both offensive or defensive, the Imperial Fist would probably win. Because they're specialized in it. If we're talking just open field warfare with all the tactical possibilities, I would imagine the Ultramarines actually swinging a victory. If we're talking hit and run tactics, the White Scars would most likely take that one because they're all about it. If we're talking about stealth insurgents and all that kind of thing, Raven Guard would probably be your best option. If we're talking mass amounts of tanks, I'll call the Iron Hands and they'll be good to go. If you're doing a competition who can barbecue the most aliens, the Salamanders would be a really good strong opinion. Close quarters combat, yeah, probably Blood Angels. I don't think the Space Wolves could actually win that one. Although they would be a good second.
I see.
The Space Wolves, I don't necessarily know where they fit in. Because they take a bit of the elements of the Blood Angels and the somewhat slightly more tactical flexibility of the Ultramarines. But they would prefer close combat. Imagine Space Vikings and you would be correct. Although these would be Space Vikings actually capable of tactics. Which does sound rather frightening. Well, did I forget a Loyalist chapter?
Yeah.
If I forgot one, they're not. Oh yeah, the Dark Angels, which we don't talk about. Dark Angels are not really a good idea to talk about. It's just, they're idiots. So well, depending on the. Yeah, Dark Angels are questionable.
Are those the one that fuck everyone to death?
No. The Dark Angels are all secretive. They have a secret chain they don't want anybody other than Dark Angels to know about. And they'll even kill Inquisitors if they just happen to find out about it.
But that's not very nice.
They also regularly show up on battlefields, unannounced.
Why?
Try and capture a very specific target, and then go GTFO out of there again.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
It makes zero sense.
Yeah, they just dump their Marines down, they capture an individual, and they just fuck off again. Regardless of the tactical situation at that point, would be actually advantageous to fuck off again. So they've done their job, and
they deploy an entire army just to get one.
Yeah. Because that one guy has intel on guys they want to kill. Or, well, no, even funnier, that guy might have intel on the guys they want to kill.
Okay.
You know. There was a particular situation in the siege of Varax, which the Imperium requested the help of the Adeptus Astartes, also known as Space Marines, and the Dark Angels showed up, dropped down, destroyed the spaceport, which wasn't really the help that was requested, but it was nice, nonetheless. Captured their target and then fucked off again, while not dealing with Chaos Space Marines.
What in the fuck?
So the original request of help was sent out again.
Hello.
Because, yeah, shenanigans happened.
Welcome back. Sorry that you vanished for a second.
I know, sorry about that.
No worries. The old man was going on about some people dying or something. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, the Dark Angels. We don't want to talk about those.
To be fair, in 40k, it's like a never-ending sea of just people dying.
I mean, some Imperial Guard formations are specifically designed about sending as many men to the meat grinder as possible. The Death Corps of Krieg being a very good example. And their cult of sacrifice. I mean, hell, the Death Corps of Krieg even gives you a new a new name when you enlist properly.
Right.
It's essentially a serial number to make it easier to knock you off the casualty lists and to recover your gear.
Jeez.
That's why.
So you're literally just a number.
Yeah, at that point, you're quite literally a number. And all the guardsmen in the Death Corps are quite literally happy about it. Which is even worse. Death Corps of Krieg tactics also mostly evolve around sending men to, well, basically charge the enemy trenches in mass quantities, figuring out where the trenches would be weaker, and then sending more men to those spots. And that happens over a couple of days. So, day one, charge, they figure out, that may be a weak point. Then the second day, they'll focus more men on that point while they still probe all the other points. And then they do that repeatedly throughout the week, while also supporting them with mass quantities of high explosive, preferably deployed by artillery, to the point where the artillery crews usually have their entire hearing blasted out of existence.
What the fuck?
Because the sheer rumbling of the artillery guns. Imagine World War I battlefields on steroid, and you would be good to go. Yeah, not pleasant. The engineers, the Death Corps engineers, also have gas grenades, which are so potent that if they didn't rub their chemicals in their own armor and their own gas masks the correct way, it would basically eat through it. And hell, it's even semi-lethal versus Space Marines, which are, well, their armor is rated for void engagements in worst case scenario. So, zero oxygen environments.
That's pretty cool.
And the gas can eat through that armor.
Jeez.
Yeah. Inconvenient if you happen to pull that grenade at the wrong moment.
That's fucked up.
And those engineers are happily, willingly throwing those grenades. Because it happens to kill the enemy relatively appropriately. However, considering we're still looking at a loading screen, I think it's about time we're just starting the video.
Yeah, it's been turning forever.
Yeah.
Like, people will click on the stream and they'll be like, oh fuck, it's buffering.
Yeah, while hearing the voices. That's funny. But yeah, we're just gonna watch it and questions afterwards.
Yes, sir.
Oh. Oh, yeah, I'll speak about it later.
Astartes, that's another name.
That's a
of
ship.
God.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, the quality is shit. Yeah, it's a bit better now. We've never seen any human outside of their armor in this lore.
There's a good reason for it.
Gotta love a good asteroid field.
Gotta love that chip.
Oh shit, it's blowing that other one up, isn't it? Bam! Wait, did it just go
Well,
through that?
Yeah,
Fuck?
they're on board now.
Wait, they're on board. Did the entire ship blow up? Oh no.
No, they've boarded it.
Goodbye. Headshot, what the fuck?
Yeah, these guys have no chance.
I love how these guys just casually walk while shooting down people. Oh. Oh, two. Wow. They just got sniped. That gun does fucking nothing. Yeah, goodbye. Wait, was that half a body that just dropped there?
What you talking about with Willis?
I don't know what the fuck I'm seeing. People are getting murdered voluntarily, I guess.
Oh, you watching this?
You've seen it already?
Yeah, I've watched a lot of the 40k stuff, so yeah.
What the fuck? Barriers.
Yup.
Wait, why is there spinal cords out their neck? Holy shit. These guys were murdering everybody. Why do you have these problems with these fucking Alakazam people?
I'll tell you afterwards.
Oh shit, did his head just explode? Oh fuck. Oh, they're dead now, aren't they?
Yep.
I thought for sure those psychic motherfuckers were gonna win.
No.
No.
Nobody beats Ultramarines, motherfucker.
Well, these aren't Ultramarines.
What are they? I don't even know.
They're a custom-made chapter. Probably Ultramarine descendant, though. But
That's cool.
What the hell is this guy?
that's an entirely different story. Ooh.
Or was this guy summoning a demon again?
No.
We can only hope.
I mean, I hope not. He's part of the Inquisition.
I actually like the Inquisition.
I like what happens to the guy in this particular.
The hell's wrong with his eye? Oh yeah, the psychic guy fucked him up.
Yeah.
Wait, did he hypnotize him or is his eye just broken or something?
Eye broken, probably eye bleeding as
Yeah.
well. Eyeglass broken, eye bleeding.
That'd be hot.
Probably did it for this dramatic effect with the eyes.
Probably did it for the memes.
Of course.
Well, that was the only damage the Psychos managed to act.
So it's people called psychers. Get it? Because they're psycho.
Yeah, well.
I'm waiting for Teenage to just pop out in a big fucking bird form and fuck them all up.
It's a big phoenix out of nowhere. That'd be funny. Oh fuck.
Or the Emperor to just like, it'd be like a swivelly ball and the Emperor's just sat and he'd be like, "Sup boys, thought you would never come pick me up. Been waiting for the taxi for like 200...
You're not getting a good review on for this Uber ride.
Yeah, it's like, I'm gonna make so many complaints to my administration. It's like, you have no idea.
So why does one guy have a black V and this guy have like a fucking white V? On the forehead.
Mm.
I'll get to that afterwards.
Okay.
But I feel like it's because he doesn't know. I'll get to that after.
No, I know.
Oh, okay. Because I don't know.
Or, well,
Wouldn't surprise
I
me
have
if
a
it's a
good
big tyrannid
speculation.
egg. It's just a big tyrannid egg. And it just fucking hatches and they all die.
This guy's from the First Legion.
No,
Right?
he's an Inquisitor.
Yeah, Lord
Yes.
Inquisitor probably. Oh no, he's just
That guy's
Inquisitor.
Inquisition.
Oh shit, what the fuck?
Although I've never heard of the Inquisition fighting against the actual Imperium. There's a kind of a branch of the Imperium.
I only know the Spanish Inquisition.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a good thing too.
What the hell are these eggs? Are these like bombs or what? Did that act take over his mind? Bam. Damn. He just got knocked the fuck down. He just shot at him just for the fuck.
No, that was to make sure.
Oh shit.
Tyrannid. Tyrannid. Who's a Tyrannid? Tyrannid. It's some big Tyrannid. Oh, it's some big looking Tyrannid. Oh, it's gonna munch his face.
What the fuck?
I'm actually right.
Oh shit, they're getting absorbed in the egg.
I think it's consuming.
Yeah.
It's probably a Tyrannid, I reckon.
Om nom nom nom. They're pretty dead, aren't they?
I like how when they oh god.
No, they aren't dead. Well, hard to tell.
They're not dead, they're just in a big ball of goo.
They got assimilated. Wait, what the fuck?
Although he did lose a hand.
Take that, bro.
He's definitely been infected. Ooh, by a Tyrannid. Oh.
What the hell? Why did he get teleported there after he got sucked up by the egg?
This is hot.
Where are all these people that are sitting in the throne?
I think he might be in the void. Is he
that
in the
was
void?
it.
It looks like he's
There's
in the
nothing.
void.
Well. Oh yeah, that's. Oh.
How bad? Did somebody mention the Spanish Inquisition?
Hey, I did.
Okay. Let's start here. I don't think I have to mention this, but this is a spaceship
Yeah.
of the frigate
fucking
class. So the smallest. This is actually the smallest. Those, the two tubes at the front,
Those are eyes.
those are torpedo tubes.
Why the fuck would you have a torpedo in space?
To force the enemy to maneuver to a point where you like it, and then fire at it. Or to dump space marines in a torpedo, fire it at the enemy, have the torpedo be a little bit homing, crash into the enemy ship, and send the space marines to the loving embrace of the enemy, where they can go mental. It's usually what happens in space marine naval or void combat. The size comparison, which is funny. That's the holomap for the enemy vessel.
Oh, so they know it's coming.
Yeah, they know what they're going after. There was one particular... I might not be able to get it properly. Come on, give me the guy with the... No, that's the other. Come on. Yeah, this. This chapter is coordinating with the Inquisition, because that's the stylized eye of the Inquisition. So this is probably a chapter that is in favor with the Inquisition. And the Inquisition probably requested the Space Marines to perform the boarding action. That's
Oh
a
wait,
bolt gun.
the Space Marines are the one boarding.
Yes.
I thought it was the other way around, that those guys just literally just boarded this ship and now they're getting shot down by the Space Marines because they're dumb assholes.
Nay, this is the object the Space Marines you just entered, and this is, I think, a Calidus assault ram. Not entirely 100% sure, but it matches the best. It's either that or a boarding torpedo, but a boarding torpedo wouldn't be fired from the side, nor would it have this level of maneuverability. So, Calidus assault ram, it's probably going to be. And a Thunderhawk wouldn't ram into an enemy ship. So, that is a Imperial Navy. I think that's a Lightning Interceptor.
Lightning interceptor.
You're still there?
So the intercept lightning. I am. Steve just vanished.
This would normally be Imperial Navy, and let me be entirely honest, the Adeptus Astartes, the Space Marines, aren't necessarily fond of Lightnings as escort vessels for example, the Calidus assault ram. Actually, unless the escort is using a toy the Space Marines have exclusivity over, they would prefer to only be escorted by their own shit. If this were a regular chapter working on their own, that would probably be a Thunderhawk gunship, and there will probably be more than just one. But a Lightning Interceptor, as far as the Imperial Navy is concerned, is a good enough interceptor and can be piloted by a regular human, compared to a Thunderhawk gunship, which almost exclusively is used by Space Marines.
So wait, so there actually is like humanity, even in this whole fucking 41st millennium thing, have a navy and an army and air force and shit.
Yeah, the Imperial Navy is considered to be the Void Navy, so the space-faring forces. They wouldn't be considered the Air Wing or the Air Forces, but they would be considered the Void Forces. There are also some planets with enough water would have a surface navy, like we're used to referring to the Navy as warships. Although those ships would normally be small ships or submarines, because anything bigger, like a battleship, a void-faring ship would be able to target that from orbit. So a proper surface battleship would be wasted. So it would be limited to either ships that can stay below the waterline or small ships that are not really targetable. But there is a surface navy. When we're talking about the Imperial Navy, we're talking about void ships, so spaceships. And the Lightning would be a void superiority fighter. So it would be the equivalent of an air superiority fighter specifically for void combat. You could launch them from planet, but it would suck up more fuel, so why bother? Just have a ship carry them. Which kind of makes more sense, but, you know. You also have a proper air force. They are under the direction of the Imperial Navy, because the Imperial Guard is not allowed to have aircraft, officially speaking. But, well, I mean, why are you going to use air superiority fighters or dive bombers for? to support the ground forces. Strategic bombing is usually done by big fuck-off battleships in orbit. Because, well, anything worth strategically bombing is big enough to be shot by a battleship in orbit. So, at that point, why bother with a strategic bomber? Which is fair enough. And the Navy boys don't look very kindly upon the guys flying the land air forces, shall we say.
I see.
They kind of see them as their long lost cousins they don't want to have anything to do with.
So there's also
Which is a very appropriate...
Is there a rivalry in between them or not? Are they just friendly with each other?
Oh, no, the Navy boys just shit on them. And the other guys aren't really capable of doing anything back, so, you know. Because what are you gonna do? Piss on the guys that are transporting you to the next battlefield? Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. That's not gonna backfire massively. Yeah. There is a rivalry. Hell, there are rivalry between the Space Marines even. Just be advised, don't put White Scars and Raven Guard next to each other. They don't like each other. They just don't like each other. These things are apparently anti-missile decoy drones. Never seen them, except for in this. But they're functioning, so, you know. At least I don't know about rules for them on the tabletop, which... Just pointed out, those are the braking thrusters. And that's the laser cutting through the hole, so the assault ram has an easier time.
At first I thought this thing was going straight through the ship.
No. That gas you see, that's being spewed out by the assault ram. And basically, it closes up the hole it just made. It's a byproduct of the process used to basically close up the hole they just made.
It also gets sucked up.
So the ship is still vacuum sealed.
Yeah, it also gets sucked up into space.
Yeah, which would be inconvenient. Also, you can quite easily see the guardsmen just there. They can't see shit, right? They can't see anything in the opening. Those are all the guardsmen. Those are all the individuals that we just saw preparing. This is from the point of view of one of the Space Marine just about to board. Or, well, this is already boarded. They're about to engage. I also
love going to see later how fucking calm they just walk around the place. Like, they casually strolling through enemy ship. They don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I'm gonna...
like this guy. Dum. There we go.
Yeah, they walk like they know their enemy can't hurt them. Which, let's be real, the enemy is using auto guns, which aren't necessarily good at dealing with power armor. So, yeah, the enemy is kind of undergunned for this fight. They probably didn't expect... Well, let's be real, the amount of weapons that a regular-ass individual could use against a Space Marine are limited to begin with. And autoguns would probably be the standard issue for most of the individuals on the ship. And they are basically being sacrificed to try and slow down the Marines.
Try.
And they fail horribly at it.
I was about to say.
Also, you see the explosions?
Explosive rounds.
Yeah, that's the bolt shells hitting them. Those bolt shells are high explosives. So, yeah.
But these guys are protecting those psychic folks, right? Or
Yep.
the egg?
They are protecting the psychic folks who are also on board the ship. These are basically the
Leaders.
guards we just saw, although these are new guys sent into battle.
Those two are the leaders.
Yeah, you could consider them to be the bosses. This guy just rammed a door open and instantly fires. Just to point out, they can't even see them. They're just hoping they're hitting something.
And they're hitting. This is literally how I play Call of Duty. Spray and pray.
Well, no, the Space Marines hit every single one of them in one shot. There were 3 shots, 3 targets. He's about to get blasted, but he first fires a missile, which misses.
I love this guy. He's just doing this shit, and he's about to get blown the fuck up.
This is an autocannon, and that space. Also, the. I want to see it. The way he moved, does that look like he's scared? Or does that look like, really? I'm gonna have to take a detour now.
He's like, fuck me.
I'm gonna have to take a detour.
Let's take a long way around now.
That guy was basically gonna suicide bomb his ass, because that's a melta bomb. And the Space Marine knew he was coming and put a knife, well, a Space Marine combat knife through his stomach.
Yeah, and that's
Space Marine combat knife is essentially a short sword for most humans. Also, he casually continues firing. He did. He sees all his friends, and then he sees the Space Marine. I don't think he planned to wipe them all out. I think he panicked, to be honest. Which is fair enough, considering if I would see a Space Marine in my target reticle, I would want to deal with him as soon as possible. Also, fun thing. The Space Marine here? First thing he does, fires back. Realizes it's not doing enough, then finds cover. First tries and eliminate the enemy, then tries and find cover. Even our current military, it's taught to do it the other way around. First cover, then return fire. He knew it wasn't gonna do enough. Another thing, he remembers where the gun is and can fire through the smoke in order to hit it.
Damn,
He probably can't see through the smoke. It's just his memory of where to aim.
Damn, that's a good ass.
Also, another thing, that's a plasma gun.
That's a tactical genius right there.
Considering I think that's the guy we're gonna see later on, without the helmet. I'll point out how long I probably think he served. He's a veteran, let's just say. Or you could almost say it isn't
These
his
guys
first
look like
rodeo.
fucking Mewtwo. Like Mewtwo also has like, he has spinal cord like on the outside, and that's to enhance his psychic abilities.
Yes, these shocking things, they are probably meant to enhance the Psyker's ability.
Hell yeah, Pokemon teaching you stuff since 1991 or 1981, 89, whatever.
And they are probably bonded together to be a single individual entity in the warp. And I'll say why when it happens. This is basically using telekinesis to hold him in place. Again, similar. What is important about this part? He's forcing his bolt pistol through the shield. That's the shield.
Damn.
And pulls the trigger.
And was about to
Bolt
stab
shells, which is impressive.
him. He was about to stab him before the other one intervened.
Yep. This is also bolt pistol gets knocked out of his hand, instantly switches to the knife. And why I say I think they're bonded together? Psychic feedback is about to happen. That's when the psychic feedback afflicted him. That's why he can shove that knife in there. Otherwise, he would still be in essentially stasis. The first ship we saw, that was a frigate. This is a cruiser. And this is a proper cruiser. Not a light cruiser. This is actually a I think this is just a regular cruiser, not a heavy cruiser. I can't see if it has guns on top. If it has guns on top, it's a heavy cruiser. No, those would be classified as battle cruisers. So I think this is just a regular cruiser. That is an Adeptus Astartes vessel. So that's a Space Marine specific vessel. That's a light cruiser for the Space Marines. And they can see the helmet cameras of the guys who are invading the ship. And this is happening on one of the two ships we saw just now. This is a similar bolt to the bolt before. This ain't Tyranid. This is a race that isn't that well known. And it's a psychic race, so...
no wonder he was like...
Yeah.
So this Inquisitor is now fucking communicating with it psychically.
It's basically listening in on the psychic communication.
Mm.
These guys... well, they're officers. Reason being, fairly simple. Different color shoulder pad. He even has a cape. And their helmet. Usually officers have different color helmet than the rest of the guys. And also sometimes shoulder pads different color. Basically, to clearly identify who's the officer in charge. And you can't quite see it yet, but one of these guys also has a different color stripe. That's probably the sergeant of the group, which probably means that the other two guys were a lieutenant and a captain. Although that's not confirmed, that's just speculation based on what would normally be the case. This happens to be part of their that particular xeno species that the bulls are part of. No clue what it's actually precisely is. I haven't looked into it properly. Considering it's an obscure race, it's not really important anyway, in overall lore. It's more the action of the Space Marines themselves that this time is the focus. Again, the bull is trying to do some telekinesis shenanigans. This is, by the way, the guy who had the laser markings on him. They have white stripes, the other one has black stripes. This is the sergeant. So he's seen some shit. He's in charge and he has seen some shit. These are probably devices built to contain these balls, or at least try to contain them, considering they have an effect on them.
What the fuck are they trying to do now? Sawing that thing?
They are probably trying to pacify it, to transport it, and then to eliminate it. Most likely in that order. He's listening in. By the way, that Inquisitor is probably not voluntarily doing that.
So by the way, this egg is different from the other egg.
Yeah, this is a different egg.
But these two eggs are like talking or something.
Yeah, psychically communicating. Which is why this guy can listen into. He has those cables who are linking him together. This is probably also not a full-blown Inquisitor, but one of the Inquisitor's retinue. Because I don't expect an Inquisitor himself to be willingly doing this. Because this incense burning, he knows what could happen. And he's probably not overly enjoying this. That is the other ball. That muffling you heard, that was the Inquisitor basically saying to the captain, I think the other guys are in for a rude awakening. So, aka, it's a trap.
The other guys are fucked.
And he basically orders the other guy, warn them. Which is basically, yeah, okay, fine. However, the two senior personnel are staying with the Inquisitor. Probably, the Inquisitorial agent, let's be real. Probably full well knowing that what's about to happen could happen. And they have to deal with it appropriately.
AMV? Well, maybe later. We're first doing Warhammer. I'm sorry, I'm reacting to chat. I saw it a bit too late. Somebody asking me if I'm interested in the AMV.
This guy?
Yeah, he got fucked up, didn't he? What the fuck?
Possessed.
Now he's going to die.
The ball possessed him.
Man.
They smash his face in
And shoot him down.
and brutally disassemble his body. Why? If they didn't do that and it was a proper possession, smashing the face in isn't enough. You have to make sure the entire body is destroyed. Possession could be considered to be a zombie infection as well.
Damn.
Properly dispose of the body completely. Thank you very much. Which they did. By the way, is also standard procedure.
Oh fuck.
Fun thing about this gun, we saw it before, but this is a plasma weapon. And those blue things,
Bullets.
those are the weapon's method of cooling the fuck down.
Oh.
Because, yes, in 40k, they thought about the plasma weapon being a little on the warm side, and they've decided 75% of the weapon is gonna be cooling materials to cool the balls down. They actually thought about it. I like the attention to detail 40k does in their shit.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And that is kind of what happens when it misfires!
Because the thing fucking blew up.
Yeah, pretty much. Although normally on the tabletop he would be dead, but, well. This isn't the tabletop, luckily.
Okay, roll for damage.
No! A plasma exploding is... The model carrying this weapon is dead.
Okay,
that was teleportation.
Okay, I was about to say. Where did he get
And
teleported?
considering what's about to happen, he teleported through the warp, which is the usual method of teleportation. Why do I say that? He's puking. Why is he puking? He's dizzy. Because he traveled through the warp.
That's why.
Yeah, teleportation isn't funny.
So that's why he threw off his mask.
That's... Yeah. That, by the way, those dots on his brow, that basically points out how long he served. And I think this means he is about clocking in at 100. And I think last I looked this up, it was gold is 100 years, silver is 25, but I could be corrected on that very quickly. So he's probably, 150 years old. And in service, mind you. Although, I think this is actually his first experience seeing this.
What the fuck is this?
I haven't gotten the faintest clue. I know he's teleported, and this looks to be a planet. But which one? Where? Why? Yeah, beats me. It has to do with the eggs. That's the only thing I know. And that's obscure race, so yeah. No clue. Just out of curiosity, this is a Space Marine battle tank. And that cannon, you can hear it fire twice. That would be considered the more anti-soft target cannon instead of the anti-tank option. Also, this tank doesn't have any side weapons, which usually would be the case. Because basically the Imperium's tanks are basically World War I tanks with turret. And that would be an adequately explanation of it. And that's also immediately the video. Are there still anything I have to go back to?
No, it's pretty clear. All the questions I had, you answered perfectly.
Yeah, by the way, those are the guns. Just those would be flak guns, because those are the main guns. But this is a frigate. This is the small ship. Just happened to be finding it interesting to point that out. I don't know if you actually see my mouse. Can you actually see my mouse cursor moving around?
Yep.
Okay. This would be the forward-mounted cannon. These would be flak guns, or well, heavy flak guns, probably. Torpedo tubes, and they're the. I can't see it properly here, but on both sides there are going to be hangars for the Calidus assault ram. Out of those torpedo tubes can also be fired boarding torpedoes because, you know, funny. And I think I indeed covered everything. Yeah, this is an autocannon. This is basically a heavy anti-infantry gun, and it didn't do fuck all. And this is a laser weapon, which does not a lot.
It goes pew pew.
Yeah, it makes a couple of scorch marks, and that's it.
What?
So these guys were kind of outmatched.
That's really fucking useless.
Yeah, guard shooting against Space Marines is considered useless. Even on the tabletop. I mean, one squad of Space Marines versus one squad of guard. I take those squads of Space Marine any day of the week. I mean, you cannot fuck up your dice rolling enough for the guard to actually win.
What if you do win and you'll be laughing?
Oh, I will be laughing my ass off! True. But chances are the Space Marines are gonna win then, most likely. Considering they will be hitting on threes, wounding on threes, and the Guardsman's armor save is a 4+. Or a 5+, depending on the Guardsman in question. Whereas the Guardsman is gonna hit on 4s, wound on 5s, and the Space Marine armor is a 3+. The Space Marine has all the advantages. And hell, if the Space Marine gets into close quarters, it's gonna be even funnier. Because he's better at it. So yeah, this was an unfair fight. But the Imperium, and the best part about it, the rebels, because the Space Marines are invading a rebel ship. The rebels might be the good guys, but the Space Marines are just ordered to board, and they don't question because they are ordered to board. They'll just do it. This is just another day, another job. And these are Space Marines in regular armor. If this were Space Marines in Terminator armor, this wouldn't even be considered a fight. This would be a slaughter. You have zero chance as a guardsman against Terminator armor.
They ain't surviving that shit.
Plus, he's using a bolt pistol. A Terminator, at the very least, is armed with a Stormbolter, which is basically... if I can get the starties with the bolt gun. Come on, guys. It's basically twice what these guys are carrying. Because a storm bolter is essentially just two bolters duct taped together. Because, you know, hilarious. Yeah, if they... And one of their arms would be at the very least would be a power fist. A Terminator power fist, which is basically for punching. Sometimes even tanks. So yeah, they wouldn't have a fucking chance. But yeah, I think that's also it for today. Unless you have any other questions.
No, pretty good.
Okay then. And I think we're gonna end it here.
Alright, then I'm going to pull up my software. So I can do my outro. So thanks everyone for watching. We learned a lot today. I also learned that I kind of need to work on my Inquisition, Legions or whatever the fuck they're called. See, that's how much I'm sucking. I feel this week's stats, but I'm sure to pass next week's.
Yeah, well, considering back in the 31st millennium, because I find this maybe an interesting one. This is happening in Millennium 39, and this is the year in that millennium. So this would be 400 and... if we're going to turn today's date into the Imperium's notification, it would be 020.M02. No, 03, sorry.
Nani? I'm very
the third millennium, because we're currently in the third millennium, and it would be the 20th year of that millennium.
Okay. So anyway,
but their notification would be 020.M02. 3, sorry.
Right, let's do
Make the mistake again.
Thanks everyone so much for watching, and if you're watching this back on YouTube, thanks so much for watching as well. And if you're a massive 40k fan, just point out everything we said wrong, because that sounds fun.
True.
So
I'll look it up for next time, and I'll correct all my mistakes before.
Right, so the video is first going to be an hour long of, oh, I said this wrong, I said this wrong, I said this wrong. Anyway, thanks so much, guys, and I'll be back tomorrow. Don't think the old man will be there tomorrow.
Yeah, and I will be back Monday.
Oh, right. We have you on Mondays. Jeez, I'm so fucked up.
Yeah.
All these guns are getting to my head.
Yeah. Oh well.
Well then. Thanks
I'll,
everyone so much. Old man, say goodbye.
Yeah, well, bye.
Bye.
Oh,